মধ্যপ্রাচ্যে ব্যবসায়িক সাফল্য অর্জনের পর এবার দোহা ব্যাংকের মূল লক্ষ্যই কিন্তু আন্তর্জাতিক ব্যাংকিং। 1 ডজনেরও বেশি দেশে তাদের শাখা রয়েছে। তবে চলতি বছরের এপ্রিলে তারা শাখা খুলেছে ভারতবর্ষেও। সম্প্রতি কলকাতা সফরে এসেছিলেন দোহা ব্যাংকের সিইও ডক্টর সীতারামন এবং রাজ্যের বিভিন্ন ব্যবসায়িক দিকগুলো খতিয়ে দেখলেন তিনি। এরই মধ্যে ক্যালকলিংকে দেওয়া এক একান্ত সাক্ষাৎকারে দোহা ব্যাংকের ফিউচার রোডম্যাপ, ইন্ডিয়াতে তাদের অপারেশনাল প্ল্যানিং এবং বিজনেস ডেভেলপমেন্টে তাদের ভূমিকা নিয়ে কথা বললেন আমাদের প্রতিনিধির সঙ্গে। সেই বিশেষ সাক্ষাৎকারটি রইল আপনাদের জন্য।
India is grossly underbanked, undercapitalized. We need to bring in inward investment. We need to collaborate with various Gulf banks. Hardly any Gulf banks operating here. 2 or 3 banks and they are dormant. And I'm an Indian living in the Gulf for the last 30 years and I see the lights in both sides clearly. I want to converge. We started in one state, one locations. Then we started looking at the non-resident Keralites in the Gulf. We thought Cochin is more appropriate as the first step we made. And again, we need to look at states which have got enduring values, whether it's corporate side or SME side. I think Gujarat is a good state, Tamil Nadu is a good state. Again, south in parlance with so many non-resident Indians are in the Gulf, it's an opportunity. SME and the analytics city which is coming up in Kolkata is an attraction. We want to look at Bengal is a clear opportunity to bring in banking and as well as investments. We got a license last year. We commenced our business on 29th of April in full scale, but we were in the 29th of April 2015, but we have been in business since last June. We brought our capital and we started lending. Bank to bank we have been doing, bank to corporate we have been advancing, and we have a full scale business model, corporate, retail, treasury, full scale treasury has been set in to support the non-resident Indians and also invest in local money market. We also have the inflow of remittances from non-resident Indians. SMEs, we have signed up with SME Chamber of Maharashtra, India, and we have been advancing for SMEs as well. That's what I want to explore in Kolkata as well. Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Doha Bank can come together, look at the opportunities in terms of bilateral values. Our exposure is bank to bank, number one. Our exposure is bank to customers. If I sum it up, it's over $2 billion, $2.4 billion.
Loan exposure in total?
$2.4 billion, both funded and non-funded put together. See, we are a Gulf-based bank. We have branches, in addition to over 50 branches in Qatar, we have in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait. India is a destination with maximum remittance. As you know, our global remittances of 1.2 trillion. We have significant portions of investments on the one side. On the remittance side, we have over 70 billion is coming to India, and 40%, over 28 to 29 billion remittance come from the Gulf. We are a major contributor for it. Over the years, we built in with various collaborative models with various local banks, nationalized banks. They are partners for us. We were channelizing, thousands of crores. Now we want to have our own outfit. With this, we have distribution channels. We are going to use this opportunity with RTGS, real-time gross settlements. We can remit more. No, I think if we, well, in specific terms, if you ask me, the numbers are running in thousands of crores. It's over 10,000 crores. We have bigger opportunities. It's not confined to a few thousands of crores. We can bring in billions of dollars, and that's what we want to concentrate. See, as I mentioned, blue collars as well as white collars put together over 7 million non-resident Indians, and they need local window to support, and that's what we're going to recognize. We're planning around $5 billion in the next 2 to 3 years' time. But if there are better opportunities, it's not only Doha Bank. We have partners across in the Gulf states, around the world. We can go for joint risk participation. It depends on the opportunity and the market momentum. As I mentioned, we have a significant portion of the non-resident Indians remittance. Out of 70 billion India is receiving. Last year was 74 billion to be precise. In 2014, 40% came from the Gulf states. Doha Bank is a Gulf bank. In addition to Qatar, we have branches in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait. We have non-resident Indians. So these are major contributory to recognize. And our number is 5 digits, I can say, at this point. We can scale it up further.
Okay.
See, the monetary policy and fiscal policy be aligned. So far, the interest rate cut is absolutely valid. With the volatile monsoon, I think they are observatory in recognizing the market factor, and then wants to measure the monetary policy accordingly, whether interest rate or inflation or money supply. I think they are right. They are cohesive in terms of the overall principle-centered administration. With India opening up, market liberalization is also a bigger opportunity. Inflation is under control. Fiscal consolidation is happening. Current account deficit is reducing. So in macroeconomic terms, it's an opportunity to promote investment as well. We need more and more FDI. And I'm sure monetary policy and fiscal policy will align. So, so far they are right. And I see a bigger alignment in the coming days. See, our model is confined to GCC Indians. We want to do wealth management for them, whether it's banking or insurance, stocks or mutual funds. We want to integrate them and offer them, bundle them a variety of products and offer non-resident Indians. We also have the opportunity to use the real-time gross settlements. We don't need hundreds and thousands of branches to start with. We can tap the resources there. We can have inward remittance and distributions through either through our network directly or through indirect channels available, including NBFCs. So I'm looking at all options to see how to converge in the model or work with partners, partnering banks to further cut through various parts of India for online banking service, including remittance. We have plans. We have been working with partners. We have signed up with Axis Bank in 2004, and that's a big relationship. Over the last 10 or 11 years, they managed to bring in a lot of remittances, and we have relationship with State Bank. We're the first bank signed up with State Bank in 2006. We also have relationship from 2006 with the IndSInd banks. They are partners for us. We also have credit lines extended to various public sector units, and we want to further extend our credit lines with the infrastructure creations India is envisaging. The nationalized banks are going to be bigger fundraisers, and we want to work with these banks to support the joint risk participation and also bring in inward lending through lead syndication from Doha Bank side, working with partners in the Gulf. Through our credibility, I can bring in few Qatari banks and other banks to partake. They need not have branches here, but they can rely on our due diligence, and they can do their due diligence, and they can supplement additional advantage for corporate syndications, loan syndications. And that's what we're going to work on with various projects here in infrastructure side, as well as the banks syndication side as well. That's going to be our business model. That's precisely we are here. See, we are a AA rated country, and A plus rating is, Fitch has given us A plus rating. So it's, our cost of fund is cheaper. Even at any point of time, if I want to borrow international market, my credit default swap rate is cheaper than any other local Indian banks. So it's an opportunity where we want to work on and bring in low cost funds and give it at a margin which is lesser than the local banks. That's precisely the discrimination possible because of the credibility Doha Bank enjoys, our borrowing capacity with the capital adequacy we have. We can always borrow. We can always take it from international institutions or hedge fund holders or private equities or core customers from the Gulf, and we can channelize for lending, which is discriminatory pricing compared to the local players. It will be competitive. Definitely, it will be competitive compared to local banks. That's the very purpose of being here. See, here the prime rate in terms of deposit is high, and with this rate, obviously, yield on lending will be higher. So, when it comes to international borrowing, our cost is different. So, we can always supplement low cost funding, and yield on lending will also be marginal for us.
How much?
I think I see clearly. Definitely 1 to 2% margin is there for the local corporates or local SMEs compared to their borrowing with the local banks. Well, it's a strategic thought at this point. We just commissioned our first branch. We acquired 2 branches, so it is very premature for me to give a full-scale plan. Our intention as a commitment we made to Reserve Bank that we will be scaling it up, because India and Gulf, as I mentioned, is a huge opportunity. By having 2 or 3 branches, we can't be a significant contributor for bilateral relationships. So we want to have in top tier 1 cities to start with, and again tier 2 cities which are all growing now, with India embarking on financial inclusion for social development. That's a bigger name in terms of overall policy framework, and that's what we want to look at it objectively and see how we can add value to both the sides. I think it will take 2 to 3 years. See, we want to build the brand equity. We cannot just cut through the market, and even if I put name board across India, nobody is going to come to Doha Bank. It takes time for the brand to penetrate in the market space. So that's why we want to showcase the opportunities. We want to take the Indian corporate to the Gulf states. We want to take the Indian SMEs to Gulf states. We want to bring in bigger opportunities in terms of investments to India through using our network, using our contacts, including sovereign contacts, and then start building a size which is substantive for me to cut through the market and build a subsidy. The sectoral commitment is incidental on the overall economic momentum. If you look at the Gulf states, the contracts are growing in between 13 to 14%, whereas manufacturing is growing 3%. Oil and gas is growing 1.5%. So I'm not specific on which SME to pick up at this point. Looking at the overall market growth, I need to look at what exactly the sector where I need to support, where I can make sure my credit risk is minimum. At the same time, the growth is going to give me repaying capacity for the borrowers. So these are nuances which we will work it out. And it is very premature for me to cast on which sector. But having said that, we want to take the corporates and SMEs to various contracts as well as subcontracts for the urban development in the Gulf states. Huge amount of infrastructure creation there. So we want Indian companies, Indian SMEs to come to partake, and we can do the support of funding there, both non-funded as well as funded. Current deposit ratios. See, I look at the consolidated positions. We have, if I have 100 reals or $100 as my deposits, I can lend up to 90%, 90 reals or $90. And the denominator deposits includes the capital as well as long-term borrowings in addition to customer deposits. So it varies from market to market. With my global operations, I think we are compliant, both liquidity ratio as well as current credit ratios. Our capital adequacy is around 17.5%, which is highest. So we have capacity to lend in global terms over 12 to 14 billion in the next 2 years. And I'm looking at all destinations. It's not I'm looking at only in India. I'm looking at from a global perspective, and there are a lot of Indians who are doing business in the Gulf. We want to support them as well. I mean, either directly or indirectly, if I support, we answer the value advantage. So that is what precisely we are working on. So our ratios are in full compliant. Our capital adequacy is more than enough for us for the next 2-3 years to see through.
Adequacy ratio 17.5.
That's right, which is highest. You tell me how many banks, an average in India is around 14%, right? We are 17.5. So we are adequately capitalized. We are complying with Basel III in full scale. So definitely we have scope for lending more, investing more. It depends on, see, there's no restrictions on that. So the minimum capital we brought in, now we acquired these small units. We can bring in as much as required. What do I do with the capital if I don't have productive deployment? So what I plan to do is to review the capital every 3 months and scale it up as and when it's required. No, we have over $50 million we brought in to start with. As I mentioned, our commercial commencement was in April. But there's no restriction. I can bring in tomorrow another $100 million if it's required. So only I don't want to keep idle capacity when I can deploy it in global terms.